Hey guys, Doug the Retirement Guy. First, want to say thank you for each and every one of our Patreon supporters. You guys are doing a phenomenal job and you're really helping this channel out. If you guys want to be a supporter of this channel, just click down on the little description. You'll see support. Click on that Patreon button. Even if it's just a free membership, click on that. You can make a quick little donation or you can get a lot more information behind the scenes by being an actual supporter. Let's get into today's video. Guys, we're updating our weekly paying dividends. It says 31. Before everyone starts throwing stuff in the comments down there, we actually have bought, I believe we're already at 40 to 41 different funds already. We are buying every single fund that comes out in a weekly paying dividend. So with that, we will be updating this video and the format that we use, because there are just so many out there and we're excited about each and every one of them. We're going to update this and give it to you in a little bit different fashion. But let's get into today's updates and show you where the fun is actually happening. First, the new fund that was introduced this week was USOY, the Defiance Oil Enhanced Options Income. Now this is it opened up and it's paying weekly, as we said. This used to be a monthly paying dividend and it struggled. And now that they've switched to weekly pays, they've made some changes that I'm excited about, that they're actually selling covered calls and covered puts. So they're doing a lot more trying to capture the upside and the downside to generate one more income for the weekly, but also try to establish more growth in the fund. We did invest $1,000 into this fund, and we have over $31,000 already just in our weekly funds invested in this portfolio, and they all do pay the weekly dividends. And on this channel, we love the regular cash flow that we get from the regular I'll call it every Friday. Some of them are paying Wednesday, some are paying Thursday, some are paying Friday. We love that regular cash flow. Now, some people have been talking about doing the drip with reinvesting the potential. It is available out there, but to show the difference between growth and the dividend growth, we just want to keep everything as a regular cash flow. When we look deeper into US soy, the oil enhanced options, first off, this thing launched on 5/9 of 2024. So it's been out there for a little bit of time. And when you take a look at it, you've seen the prices just slowly drop from that top mid 20s all the way down. And the thing is, it's an active managed ETF, and it's seeking to maintain the opportunity to indirect exposure of the share price of United States Oil Fund LP, USO. Now, they used to do this in an options call, but they were looking always for the specific put options. But now they're going for both sides. So that's been the big change right there. They're down 8% for 1 month, 36% down in 6 months, year to date 34% down, and then they're down 52% for 1 year. So their distribution rate 110% and a 30-day SEC yield at 3.30. So right off the bat, we know this is a fund that's really lost some NAV, but we're really trying to look at, can it get some options off of oil pricing that has jumped a little bit with the wars that have been hopping up, and thank God they're stopping quick. But this is just one that we have to keep an eye on. So let's get into what's happened this week. We'll start off with GraniteShares. 3 weeks they've been on our board. 3 weeks we've bought into these, and we've been looking at them. And right off the bat, YSPY still holding the top spot at 2.69%. So very strong, growth there in over 3 weeks, basically just shy of 1% per week. You look at all the GraniteShares, they are all definitely up for this week. In stock return versus last week. Tesla stock is up. We called that last week to order and buy some of that Tesla stock, the TSYY. And it's done decent. We expect even more growth from it. But that's the only one so far that's in a negative dollar amount. And I believe it's a buy opportunity still at this time. So let's take a look at what the dividends have done. Oh, excuse me. One more thing. The fund is down 0.6%. because of that Tesla stock. But when we take a look at the dividends that we've been dealing with, and you'll see Tesla is number one on the board. The TSYY has given us a 10.32% dividend in over just 3 weeks. We're collecting $25.65 from that one stock alone. So total $103 in return. Now the NVYY, which is their Nivea program, is doing very well, a 9% gain, and XBTY is another 8.73. So they're paying some very, very solid dividends on the GraniteShares. Now for the week, we collected $87.24, which is down about $6.73 from the previous week. We've gained total $358 in total dividends. So the fund's still paying at 0.97% or 50% 0.41 for the entire year. So some positives and negatives to this. It's a 3-week-old fund, so you're going to see a lot of jumps and adjustments as you go through. But we're holding in that 0.91% return. That gives us that 50% for the year. I'm very, very comfortable with these dividends as we see them. If we can continue to get some additional growth out of the fund, I'm going to say GraniteShares are really a nice package to be a part of. Our next one's going to be the Defiance program. Now this one's been on the books for 9 straight weeks. So this one will give us really some hardcore looking at numbers. Now you see the USOY, that was just put on the board last week. We bought it at $9.27. It went up 1 penny to $9.28. So we're not seeing a lot of it bouncing on that one. I just wanted to note that one. That's the only one that's not been on there for the 9 weeks. QQQY is the number one piece in the Defiance fund. That's up 7.56%. Last week it was 6.06, so we picked up about a 1.5 on QQQY. So very solid performer right there. The only one down for the entire week is IWMY. And when we look at that from last week, it's down 7 cents. So it's not that we're, 7 cents here, 7 cents there. I know will be a big number in the long run, but totally the whole thing comes into it's 1.69%. It's kind of gotten to a little bit of what we call a flat market. And it may be a good time to buy that one as well, because I'll show you that with the next screen, we'll show you where IWMY is paying some strong dividends out there. So for the dividend market people, that may be a play onto it. But to show you so far, the Defiance fund has given us 3% growth over 9 weeks. So when we hear everyone talking about, oh, you don't get in the weekly paying dividends because of the NAV, the losing on the NAV, blah, 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 it goes on. We are sitting here with a 3% growth for 9 straight weeks. And to me, that would be very, very strong piece. Let's look at the dividends from Defiance. 9 weeks into this, as I told you, IWMY is paid 9.2%. So that's almost about 1 percentage point per week on that one fund. We have collected over $92 already. They're paying 24 cents. It just continues to produce and produce and produce. Now the big return, the QQQY, gives you the nice return, also has paid us about a 7% return so far in dividends. So those two together are very, very strong pieces of the puzzle. The new one down below, USOY, 2.07 in just its first week because it paid 19 cents. So it just shows you that this fund has some real good legs underneath it, giving us good growth over 9 weeks and giving us some decent dividends across the board. Now, we are down this week. It paid $56.82, so we're down about $3 from the previous week, even though we added in the USSOY. So we ended up with $297 in total gains so far this year, up 1.13% for the week, and still paying a 59% dividend for the year. So this is why I say Defiance across the board, very, very strong, especially if you stay in the big three, the IWMY, the QQY, and the WDTE. All of those have been solid for the full 9 weeks. Let's take now the big one, the round hill investments. Again, this is one that's been out there for 9 weeks. And when we look at it, everything has been up except 2 shares, and that's their Tesla stock and their WEEK, which is their bond fund. Now, the number one for the week, this one just blows my mind as when we look at this, is COIW. This thing is already, it's bounced almost 35 percentage points from last week. And the week before that, it bounced again. So this one, I will say I probably missed it. I probably messed up on this one. This thing is rocketing. That Coinbase is just making a huge difference back and forth. So that one, like I said, it's our green one. It is the number one stock from Roundhill at a 75.18% return for the 9 weeks. Next closest one is going to be their NVDW, which is the Nivea program at 17.44%. And I have to always put out their PLTW at 15.25%. Very, very strong performer. Normally that one's always in the top. It's always fighting COIW for the number one slot. Always there, pays out some decent dividends, which we'll show you next. So I just had to make note of that one. The final one is AAPW, is always the loser. It has been down 10.13%. Almost when we started this program, it's been down. And it's one of those that if we were doing this on a regular basis, I would have cashed this one out and moved my money into something else. It just is not producing or performing. Even though I give it credit, it is up, but it's only up basically at $5 over the entire week. The other one that I got to note, just so everyone knows, is WEEK. That one has no real movement up, down, sideways. We paid $106.06 for it, and it really only bounces a couple pennies here and there across the board. That is their bond fund. That's another one that I don't quite understand why we would even want to be invested in that one across the board. Again, COIW is up 75.18%. Unbelievable return on that one. And the fund's growth, because of that one, is up over 11.81%. I will tell you right now, Roundhill wins so far with the total growth across the board. And there's so many notables. I could just talk about Roundhill, and then we'll probably break this into its own separate piece. But Roundhill, every one of their funds right now is doing a very, very good job. QDTE, RDTE, both of those zero calls. One's doing the NASDAQ 100. The other one's doing the Russell 2000. When we get in the S&P 500, they're even there at 7.6% growth in the XDTE. So they're doing some solid numbers across the board. So very, very pleased with what Roundhill's done since we went through the April bottom. They've really done some decent jobs. Now we'll take a look at their dividend package. And again, we come into the Tesla stock pays out a big, huge payoff. It's made 12.65% from 9 weeks. COIW came in at 11.86% for those same 9 weeks. And again, I will tell you, the PLTW is right there at 9.08%, paying out a very solid 69 cents per share. So these are the funds that we look at and say they're giving you growth, which is what we all want. They're giving you dividends, which is definitely what we're doing this for. And they're giving us the money that we need to live on. So these funds, every one of these, if you have a personal preference or you want to build your own portfolio, right here's where you want to be looking. This week we are up $6.37. We made $92.39 for the week. We've collected over $705 in total dividends so far for the year. And it's a 0.84% per week, and it's going to give us a total of 43.67% as a dividend for the entire year. Now those numbers will gradually change if we did some adjustments in the fund, like WEEK. WEEK is love the name. It's weak. 0.71% is all you're getting in the 9 weeks. So I'm really one of those. I'm not a big fan of it. I hate to be on the negative side of it. I'd rather look at these positives of what we're getting from coin and then what we're actually getting paid off of the Tesla, because we're getting paid on Tesla because of the volatility of the stock. that it's going up, coming down, going up, coming down. We're gathering up a lot of income from that. We'll get into yield max next. This is one that most of you are probably dying to see. 9 weeks into this, and the one that turns green, GPTY. That's been a winner for quite a while. It's at 20.83% up. Now, I also say, look at the column. Every one of the funds are up this week. It's amazing how well this thing has done this week for the June 27th week. The two in yellow, CHPY, which is their Coinbase one, quietly sneaking in there at 12.89%, and QDTY, which is their zero call for the NASDAQ 100, 10.37. Very, very strong numbers from both of those and doing a very good job. Now, I put the one in red, YMAG. YMAG, even though it was up, you look at last week was down negative 4.11. It is now down negative 2.50. I put that is the lowest one that we have in the whole package. Now the next one closest to that would be the YMAX, but we all know the strategy between those two and what it's going to come from and what you're getting in dividends. And then I know everyone's going to want to hear this one, the ULTY. ULTY really hit a bottom in that 570, 580 range, and is slowly, quietly ticking up and up and up, and it's up 6.45% for the 9 weeks. It's up to $6.27. So GTPY is our number one at 20.83% for growth. And our fund so far, and there's not been any add-ons, there's not been any changes, so I'm really confident with this number, is that we're sitting here with a fund that's grown 6.9% in yield max. So again, I go back to everyone that talks about this, oh, negative yield, don't get into these, negative yield, the NAV's killing you. My answer to it goes back to if you are smart enough and you are wise enough to do your study and do your homework, you're going to buy at a perfect price. You're going to buy at a good share price that's going to make you money and not lose money. And now add in everything that we do from dividends from this. Let's take a look. And here we are. ULTY is the number one at 14.96% dividend gain in 9 weeks. So now I'm showing you that ULTY is giving you a 6% growth and a 14.96% dividend gain in only 9 weeks. In yellow, you see the two that we're also talking about. The next one is YMAX. YMAX, 7.96% in 9 weeks. Even though that stock in growth is a little bit down, you take a little bit of your dividend, you come out, you're way ahead. And then LFGY, again, is at that 7.24%. And I know I don't want to throw it out too bad, but we go all the way up to the top at CHPY. Their Coinbase program is also at 7.65. So this fund is really is well balanced in dividend payouts. Now they are down a little bit from last week in the total payment that we collected, the $75.50. We have collected $717 total, and it comes in at 0.83%. I'm very pleased with 0.83%. For anything above 0.8, I'm ecstatic, okay? Because it gets us to this big number of 43% dividend for the year. So when I look at this one and say yield max is really paying out well in dividend wise, and as their funds, the stocks are doing some decent growth. So if you could put yourself a nice little mixture of these together, I think you could have a big winner. So in summary for week January 27th, 9 weeks into this, our stock fund is to 32,054, which is 1,054 gain. So we've gained over $1,000 in 9 weeks, or 3.6% of our initial investment. And you also have to remember, every week we're like adding another share, another stock to this. That's $1,000, and we're still staying at 3.6% gain. But we don't have a stock that's really produced for all 9 weeks. So our actual return would probably be higher if we started go back to the original set of 23 different funds and went forward, but I'm still proud to tell you that we're 3.6% up in weeklies. Our dividends paying us $311.95 or 1.01% per week. That will give us a $12,014 dividend for a year or 39%. Some very, very strong numbers, guys, and we've been in the green since we started this program. So this is what the weeklies are doing. Let me give you my top picks and my suggestions of what is happening. First off, my number one pick still this week again is going to be YMAX. YMAX is holding and it's growing. It's slowly growing. I probably will guess that this will probably be the last week you'll see this on my number one chart. The reason for it is it's going to get outside of our target range. It is on the peak at that target point between 1320 and 1365. So I really will tell you this is time if you want to get in the YMAX, now's the time. After that, we're going to have to sit and wait for it to retract down if it retracts down. Our number 3 pick is the TSLW, the Tesla side of it. 35.69. Again, this one is giving a great dividend, but it's getting almost to that peak point that we're at this point in time. Our number 4 pick, the TSYY, the Defiance Fund, 1058. That one did take a increase, and I hope you guys caught it from last week. We said it was time to buy that one because of the big dividend, and it was in our price target point. And number 2, ULTY. I don't know if this is the first time I've actually put it and got it up to a number 2, but at $6.27. It's a fund that's very inexpensive. The dividend, I put it in here as the dividend is huge. You basically calculate this on your own, 9 cents per share per week. Okay, that is what you're going to get from ULTY, 9 cents per share per week. I would highly suggest you buy that just in dividend alone. We don't have our target price on there because we believe we're still trying to balance where's this thing going. We believe it's on the growth upwards, and it's going to be a slow upward trend, but right now is a great time to be buying into that because you set it and you forget it and you'll be fine. So these are our picks for the week, and we hope this helps you out. Our final one is going to be the YMAG because it's still in our target pricing and it's still paying a decent dividend and it's doing fairly decent. Even though we have a negative growth on this one, we believe that this stock is still a good dividend runner. Guys, this is Doug the Retirement Guy. I hope this information you find is very helpful for you. If you like what we're doing, give us that thumbs up. Don't miss any of our videos. Hit that subscribe button. We are trying to get ourselves to 10,000 subscribers, and we're hoping to gain you as a supporter. And if you have any comments, leave them down below. Good, bad, or ugly, we will listen to them, read them through, and we'll answer as many as we possibly can. Everything helps the channel grow, guys, and we appreciate what you do for us. So we'll catch you out next week.